Good afternoon. My name is Armando Ariano. I'm the radio producer with the Lab Learning Action Buffet. Doña Ana Community College and the lab are partners on a Humanities Action Lab project funded by the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, among others. It is coordinated by personnel at Rutgers University in Newark, New Jersey, and supported by Rutgers University's School of Arts and Sciences, Newark Express Newark. Today, I'm joined by Zaid Steele, a student fellow attending Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina, who is part of the HAL Humanities Actions Lab. Thank you, Zaid, for agreeing to be interviewed today.
You're welcome. Well, my name is Zaid Steele. I am a student at Shaw University, which is actually the first HBCUs in the South. I am currently a junior there, and I am majoring in mass communications with a concentration in psychology. I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri. I grew up there since the day I was born until I turned 18 and 17, and I came to North Carolina and finished my senior year here, and also just decided to stay in the city in North Carolina. Not in the city of Raleigh because I was freshly new. I didn't know anyone, so I just like school is down the street. It's a good price. It's where I need to be. Um, I'm just getting used to Raleigh. I'm connecting with more people in the city now since COVID is over. I'm able to be more outside and be more hands on to help the community when it comes to just conversations or providing them with things that they don't get from our local government and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I'm also very hands-on when it comes to environmental justice as well, working with HAL and the Humanity Action Lab and things like that. And also, it was an honor. This was actually my first year being with HAL, which
Nice.
was actually an honor because I learned so much and I also met so many people. So I'm happy to be here and to have this conversation. Thank you.
Oh no, yeah, you're welcome. And just for any of our like the lab listeners, a lot of them we target the youth, and there's some adults, but just for any listeners out there that might not know, could you tell us what a HBCU is?
At HBCU is a historically Black college.
Nice.
It's a historically Black college with history of where our culture comes from.
Hmm.
All races of course, are welcome there.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just, it's like a stand of where we come from and how long education has been in the colored communities.
Yeah. And how old do you know when Shaw University was founded by chance?
Yes, Shaw University was founded in 1865.
Wow, nice. Okay. So it's about like, yeah, NMSU was founded in 1888, so they're like almost neighbors. How cool. Um, can you tell us about the rally team has been doing as part of the Humanities Action Lab that brought us all together, and like what you guys are like working on and focusing on in North Carolina?
Yeah, so right now we're focusing on being, like I was saying, being more hands-on with the community since a lot of our communities suffer from a lot of the same things. Like with Duke Energy, that's one of the main corporations or businesses that are harming these communities when it comes to water. A lot of these communities suffer from having like lint in their water,
Hmm.
and they can't use the water for months, and it's hard for them to get connected with the care. So they're still contaminating the water that these people drink, cook with, wash clothes, wash their bodies with. So
Hmm.
we try to get them connected with healthier waters, like alkaline is one of them. Even though that's like a drinking water, it's still a healthy water that you can drink, cook, wash up with, provide for
Hmm.
your children. So Riley, we're also, and also to include my school with Shaw, we're
Hmm.
also working with students as well to teach them, like, we want to teach you this, teach you how to to manage the water, check the water,
Hmm.
stay connected, even watch who you're voting for,
Yeah.
looking in the backgrounds of things. So that way, if this person is a good fit to represent what we're trying to build. And so that, and helping the students is able to help their communities too,
Hmm.
because not everyone is from North Carolina. It's kids from
Yeah.
all over the world, really. And
Hmm.
I and also, like, even with going with I saw that these communities are going through the same thing. So if we're teaching them at our university to do this, how to move like this, how to move like that, they're able to go back to their home communities and be like, look, I learned this from Shaw University. I learned this from environmental justice. It helped where I was staying in the course of 9 months. And I feel like it can help where I actually grew up and live with where my family are still at.
Yeah, you can take what you learned and bring it back to your community.
Exactly.
That's cool. And so so you said alkaline water, that's like the bottled water, right? Or is that like do you guys, okay, so to also because it's still like lead is still currently a problem, as you were mentioning, right? So do you guys also is there like any like sort of like water filtration systems that you're able to use, or is anything like that effective, or is it better to take the alkaline angle?
Well, when it comes, and I will clear that up too. When it comes to alkaline water, it's more like drinking water.
Okay.
In my home, since I am a local Raleigh resident, we actually got a new filter for our water as well.
Nice.
Because the water that we had was not good.
Yeah.
And the gentleman came by. He worked with the advanced, and I can also send this to you too because I see that it's blurry. But
yeah, that's perfect.
It's the Advanced Water System Group. I don't know about other cities, but I know here this is like the number one place where if you want to get some good filter water for your family, this is where you go. And I know a lot of like people who rent, these things should already come in the list that you rent when you rent like your house.
Yeah.
All of them have all of these different companies. You know how they have appliances. You have you call this person for appliances. If you need water, you call these people, the Advanced Water Group system, you know. Yeah. So that's how that works when here in Raleigh, or the location I work with, and the location that we are renting from. So it just depends. Hopefully it doesn't depend on where you live. Hopefully everyone is getting the same amount of treatment. You know, that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
You know, but when it comes to learning new information, we need to pass it on to other people. Like, this is good water. I've actually seen a difference. Even with alkaline water, I've actually seen a difference. And just than regular purified water. You know, it's more expensive, but I'm learning that my energy is different. My mindset is, you know, so those things really matter in the long run.
Yeah, those little traces of lead aren't like going through you anymore.
Exactly. You know, it's like a disease. Well, it's not like a disease, it is a disease.
Yeah.
You know, so
And so just to give our listeners like a scope of like this issue, how long has water, like contaminated water, been an issue in like Raleigh or North Carolina, like as a whole?
Well, when I did my project, with my project was to talk about different issues that the counties in North Carolina have suffered from. Some of them, the main ones that I researched, they've been going on since I've been born. Some of them have been going on since early 1990s. I know the last speaker that we spoke to in my environmental justice class, I think I forgot his name, but I know he was a reverend. They have been dealing with this issue since the late 1980s.
Wow.
And it took them until the 2000s to actually move to make things shake to where people are like, this is an issue, this is a problem, because they had it's different when you have one person that's just saying something than when you have a whole group of people. Now it's like, okay, they're causing too much attention to the fact, that's it. They're causing too much attention to the facts. So, and that was one of my main concerns. Like, you guys have been working on this for so long, but why hasn't there been a change? You know, why hasn't the water been clear? How come people are still suffering from different diseases like cancer or immune system? Why are these still going on if you guys know the problem?
Yeah.
And one of the main things was that the community was not really hands-on things, and voting. And that's why I say voting and learning who you have represent your community is important, because if you put the same person in the same position, you're going to get the same result.
Yeah.
You know, and no one in the community was taking a stand like, John is not living up to what he said before we elected him.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to not just even vote or read on the paper that they're giving you, but to really go behind the back scenes to see, okay, is this person really going to do what he said he's going to do? Is he going to go over the list we gave him because of the water or the schools that are having the problems? Those things are important. It may take a lot of time, but in the long run, I would rather be healthy and happy, I would rather be able to drink my water from the faucet and not worry about if I'm contacting lead in my body.
Yeah.
That a disease that is hard, a disease that has no cure.
Yeah.
So that, but yeah, to answer your question, yes.
No, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no, like I talked with Anthony just the other day as well, and like you both brought up a similar point where it's like, hey, like there's a lot of talking, but there's not a lot of action. And so like we're finally at that crossroads where it's like, oh, we have to take action because we've been talking for so long, and everybody's kind of like kind of over just hearing talk, and I'm like, ooh, but. So Zaid, you're part of the HAL project, and this is your angle from it. How is being part of the HAL project, like how long have you been part of it, and how has it had an impact on the work that you've been doing?
I've been part of HAL, so this was my first year being part of HAL. I actually got invited a month before I even knew about it.
Nice.
But what I learned from HAL is it's kind of one of those situations where just because someone is from another place or another area or another time does not mean that everything is perfect.
Yeah.
Like I've been to half the cities that the HAL members are from, and I'm like, this is so pretty. This is so nice. I wish that we had this. But to actually see people who walk on the streets or in these communities, who actually knock on these people's doors, is like, wow, I could imagine that, but it's still shocking, because these cities are in the news or they have bigger organizations than what we have. And I will expect that they are getting the needs that they want. They are getting the needs that we all deserve.
Yeah.
But actually sitting in the meetings and in the conference, in a way, I was relieved, but I was disappointed in the cities we all come from, because it's just sad that we've come this far into human life, into Earth life, period.
Or technology.
Our technology, really, and we're still at square one.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. There are still people getting sick, and there are still people who are working their behinds off. To get the plan moving, So I feel like HAL really taught me that regardless of where we're from, as long as we still focus on the goal and what we want to succeed on, I feel like we have a chance to get somewhere, and even if it's not in our time, we're still passing on to the next generation, saying, look, this is important. We need this. If you want to stop this disease, do this.
Yeah.
They may listen to you, even though we've been screaming and hollering for over how many years now, So that's most definitely what I learned from HAL. It would, a very good technique and sensitive conversation.
Just a reminder, you are tuned in to KTAL-LP 101.5 FM in Las Cruces, New Mexico, or online at lccommunityradio.org. Now back to the interview.
No, that's good. Zaid, what are your hopes for the future in terms of efforts like HAL?
I hope it gets bigger. And when I say bigger, I hope it gets well known that there are people like us who really do care. I feel like there's amount of equal people who don't, and there's amount of people who who do. And I feel like the world has came to a place where we only like to respond to the negative, that we forget the positive, and I feel like if we keep doing what we do,
Yeah.
I feel we will be good. We allow ourselves to not allow the outside noise to come in, and not outside, not like, and when I say outside noise, I mean like the negative outside noise,
Yeah.
the people who are trying to stop us from doing the plans that we know are better for life on earth. I feel like we will be good, I'm pretty sure we all have goals. Like in the next 5 years, I hope everyone could be part of HAL, but I still feel like we have to take baby steps, because you don't want to force it on people.
Yeah.
I've even noticed that there are a lot of more closed-minded people in this world than there are open-minded.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like with HAL, I feel like we're on a really, really good track when trying to build our communities up, and what I like is, and even with environmental justice, my internship that I'm with now, is we aren't one of those big corporate companies, but I like that we're small because we are able to knock on these people's doors.
Yeah.
We are able to get our face recognized when we walk on the street, and people are able to say, oh, I remember Armando when he was in HAL and we worked on this project together. Or I remember Miss Michelle, she helped me connect with people from Jersey and talk about different techniques that they're using for their community. I feel like that's important.
Yeah, the community building and the grassroots and all that.
Exactly. Those moments are important, and I feel like I feel and I hope that HAL stays like that, but in a bigger aspect. We never forget where we came, how we built this, where we came from, and what we are building.
No, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, no, thank you. That's a good summary. Zaid, what kind of helpful suggestions regarding environmental justice can you give to the people of your community of Raleigh, and specifically, and even other places in the U.S., like where I live, or Newark, or like wherever our listeners who listen in are at the moment?
Helpful suggestions: drink water, exercise. I mean, I'm doing it now. I can only tell you what I'm doing right now, and drinking water, exercising, staying on top of watching the news, taking notes, writing everything down that you feel does not make any sense. And again, like really staying connected to your community. I mean, if you want things, it's a popular saying, and I feel like now I'm truly understanding this saying, and you probably know it as well. Be the change that you want to see.
Yeah.
Write down the changes that you want to see, and see how you can contribute to those changes.
Yeah.
That's what I would, that's probably my number one suggestion, is that, because I have to do that. I want to drink more water. I write it down. I'm drinking a lot more water. I have a whole case of alkaline water right here, and I'm doing good. I'm moving a step forward. I'm not looking in the past to cover me for my future. I'm moving.
Yeah.
I'm developing. I'm evolving, and I'm changing. And I see that helping for my community. I see that helping for my family as well.
Yeah, you're moving forward too.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Zaid, what kind of words of wisdom can you offer to students that are interested in these issues? Because the people like they might already been in it, but students, they're on the rise. They're like, what do we do next? I'm learning. Like, where do we go? Like our age.
Wisdom. Words that I would say for wisdom is patience and focusing on yourself. And I say focusing on yourself because for years now, I would tell myself, I'm going to focus on myself.
Yeah.
But I'm still going in a circle. Yeah. I'm still doing the same exact things, but I'm not focusing on myself. And I feel like this year, I truly say, you know what? I didn't even say I'm gonna focus on myself. I just did it.
Yeah.
And and I see a change. I see a shift in me that I've never seen before. I'm less on social media. I'm more worried about the things that I can change right now. I'm not worried about the things that I cannot control.
Yeah.
I'm not as stressed anymore. I'm not depressed as much, and I'm not saying I'm depressed now, but I'm not
No, I hear
depressed
that.
as much,
Yeah.
I'm truly focusing on what I can change now, then and what I can eventually change later.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I would say, a word of wisdom, is write. Start writing.
Yeah.
Start writing.
Yeah.
Like texting is not writing. I
Yeah.
mean, actual pen or pen and paper, pencil and paper. Just start writing. If you need to write down your goals, write down your goals. If you have so much on your mind, write it down.
Yeah.
Because it helps. Because once
Yeah.
you write it down, you're able to go back and be like, I remember on October 21st, 2021, I was just not in the best place, but I moved on from that. I've learned from that mistake. I've learned not even mistake. I learned from that lesson.
Yeah.
And now I'm prospering. And now I see a change in me that's more healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, no, youth. Like listen to Zaid. You have to take care of ourselves. It's like when you've ridden a plane before, right, Zaid?
Mm-hmm.
It's like what they say on the airplanes. Like when the mask comes down, when things are going wrong, you have to put your mask on first before you help the person next to you, because then you're both gonna pass out. But Zaid, can you tell us? You mentioned writing. Can you tell us a little bit about the writing that you do? Because I realize I'm like, wait, there's an artistic part of yourself that hasn't even come through yet that I want the people to know about.
Well, in the beginning of the interview, and this probably wasn't recorded, but we talked about music.
Yes.
So, music, I've been doing music like since a elementary kid. I was in a lot of programs, not a lot, but I was in the same programs for like my whole elementary school year of just doing music. That's how I learned to play different instruments, like the cello, the violin, the viola, the piano, the drums. The drums I did not do good in, but I still did. I tried my best.
Yeah.
But I feel like writing was my instrument, because I not only told my stories, but I told other people's stories.
Yeah.
And writing for me centers me. It's like, it's another way for me to get things off my mind instead of me sitting down talking to my therapist and not getting advice from her, and not even just getting an extra listening ear. I'm writing things down that, if I can go back and look and be like, wow, like I've really changed. I helped change myself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a difference when someone else is helping you change yourself, because when I'm writing anything, I'm acknowledging my flaws. Like I'm writing my wrongs, and I'm turning them to rights.
Yeah.
So when writing is very helpful for me. I have so many notebooks. I have all my notebooks from when I was younger. Like,
nice.
It's just been helpful for me. It's actually been very therapeutic for me. I stopped for a long time. I did. I'm not gonna lie, I stopped for a long time. But I had to get back on it. And that was part of me focusing on myself too.
Yeah.
That was part of the main things. I had to get back writing. Even reading, I have to get back reading.
Mm-hmm.
I have to feed my brain something I have to feed my brain nutrition.
Yeah.
Instead of, what they just throw in your face and you swipe down. I found myself in a lot of depression modes, and even with how we talked about how to get the students engaged and when it comes to social media. And I believe half of the room was like, well, I don't understand social media.
Yeah.
And something like social media is so depressing. Yeah. And I'm like, it is. It's very depressing because there's so many people who are going through the same things are going through the same thing. And it's like, how do I help you? But I'm going through the same thing as you, you know?
Yeah.
So but we have, like I said, you have to focus on the goal, you know, whatever your goal is or aspirations, just focus on that. You know, don't lose sight of the things that you know can help build you as a person, and build not even just a person, but build you a as a healthy person, not even say a wealthy person, you know, because it's so much like knowledge and things out there for us. And a lot of us, I will use this term because I want people to really research this word and understand this word. A lot of us, it's so much knowledge out there, but there are also a lot of ignorance out there.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel, and I say that word ignorance is because people get offended with that word. But if you really sit down and understand that word, we are all ignorant to something.
Yeah.
And that's okay. We don't know everything.
Yeah.
And that's okay, you know.
Yeah.
But that just because we don't know everything does not mean we have to stop what we're doing. You know, we have to keep going. But I know we running on time. So
no, you're good. You're good. I knew you'd be able to like wrap it up. Like behind the scenes secret for the listeners out there, we are doing these interviews for the this HAL series via Zoom. And so if you don't have the full upgraded Zoom, you only get a specific time, but that's okay because you know we weren't doing interviews like this 3 years ago. So it's like, hey, progress. But Zaid, thank you so much for your time and your thoughts on these important issues. The North Carolina Environmental Justice Network, they can be found at ncejn.org. And then the Shaw University Center for Racial and Social Justice, a good one too?
Yes, Center for Racial Justice, yes. So that's just sj.org.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I didn't have that website, so I'm like, oh no. Cool. All right, thanks. And then for our listeners, more information about the HAL project can be found at humanitiesactionlab.org, and more information about the Lab Learning Action Buffet can be found at lablc.org. Thank you for your time, and take care. And take